Hi everyone, LJ Ginega here from LJ Realties. Today I'm accompanied by Nikita Mukhanov.
Happy to be here. Hi everybody.
Today we're going to talk about the 5 tips you can make in order to ensure that you're putting forth your best offer. Nikita is actually one of our best buyers brokers. He's represented a lot of buyers this year and has a lot of experience in multiple offer situations. So he's about to give you his 5 top tips that have helped him win out more times than he has lost. So the first tip that we're going to talk about is the pre-approval.
Yes, I think in this market it's more important than ever to have your pre-approval letter ready. Why? I often see people starting to look for a property, go for visits, making their plans of acquiring this dream home of theirs, and yet they don't have their pre-approval. They don't know what they can afford, and they eventually lose their time as well as your time as a broker. So make sure to have your pre-approval ready, because in this market the sellers are very comfortable and confident that they're going to sell their property, and therefore you just have to do your due diligence, have your pre-approval ready to go, and then on to the next step.
100%. Here at LJ Realties, we make sure that until we have a pre-approval, we don't hit the road with you, because unfortunately, you're not prepared, we're not prepared by not having enforced it, and lastly, your offer won't even be considered. In a multiple offer situation, the first thing that sellers do is which offers are pre-approved versus which ones aren't, and the ones that aren't go straight into the garbage can. It's just the reality of the situation. The second thing is make your best offer. What do we mean by that?
So once you have that pre-approval and you found that house that you want and you made your offer and you got into multiple offer situation, as soon as there's 2 or more offers, in my experience, you absolutely have to make your best offer. What do I mean by best offer? Well, let's imagine that it didn't work out and you don't have any regrets that you could have offered more, because that extra 10, 15, 20,000 is only gonna show as $20, $30 extra payment on your mortgage. However, that could cost you your dream home. Therefore, make your best offer so that afterwards there are no regrets.
That's just it. Make sure you have no regrets. You really went to the most you were willing to offer on that individual property, so that if somebody outbid you by $1,000, no problem, hats off to them, they won it. The next point we're going to discuss is tailoring your offer. So that's point number 3.
Yes, we live in a province where we have 2 languages, French and English, and therefore it is very easy to see who is the owner of the property that you're making an offer on. And let's imagine it is a French-speaking person. Therefore, just ask your broker to draft the offer in French. People appreciate that a little attention to their ethnicity, to their culture, and that's therefore it enhances your chances of getting that property.
Thank you for that. The 4th point we're going to discuss is everything works. What do we mean by that, Nikita?
All right. Well, what really helped me in multiple transactions this year, as well as last year, is personal letters, personal notes from the clients to the sellers, including a picture, a cute picture with your pet or your children. Why do you like that property? How do you see yourself living in that? Because once, let's say, you are in the top 2 or top 3 offers, sellers actually going to consider you as a person and why do you want it? Therefore, making a personal note on the side of your buyers really worked for me many, many times. And also as a broker, I think that it's very important to show yourself as the most eager person. I often see people just sending offers without a call, without any explanation. Make sure that you tailor the email so that it's very clear what are the conditions of the offer. Call the broker before, during, after the submission of the offer. And all of that definitely going to enhance your chances.
100%, and I think you do such a great job doing that, making sure that you really enumerate the points of the offer, making sure that there's no ambiguity and that everything is clearly outlined along with that personal letter or a description of your clients. Money only gets you so far, and price is obviously one of the main drivers when it comes to selling the property. However, at a certain point, it becomes an emotional game. We've definitely had sellers turn to us and say, you know what? I don't need that extra $15,000. I really think that my home that I've spent the last 30 or 40 years at is gonna really suit that family, and I wanna see them in this home. The extra 15 grand from the other person who didn't submit an offer with a personal letter or any information doesn't really matter to me so much. I'm very happy with this other offer. Finally, we have don't get discouraged.
Absolutely. In the end, it's all the numbers game, and being in this heavy sellers market, it's getting tougher and tougher for the buyers to purchase their property, and therefore, for me, in my experience, it usually happens between the 4th and 7th bidding war where we would get the house that we actually end up buying. And also with that, every property, you kind of narrow down what exactly do you need in a property, what is important to you, and more often than not, in the end, my clients buy the property, the best one that we had seen in our purchase experience. Don't get discouraged, it's all gonna work out in the end.
I can't even count the amount of times you've come into my office and said, hey LJ, we finally got the accepted offer, we're super excited for these clients, and it's the best house we've seen so far. It's got the most rooms, it's got the best location, it's even a better price than some of the other ones we've offered on, so don't get discouraged, it's such an important part of the process. Thank you guys so much for watching. Nikita, thank you so much for participating in this video. We look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.